This is gross. It's insane. Hey guys, Space Marine 658 here, and today I am bringing you a bit of a different video, also on a different day. Normally I upload on Fridays, but this is kind of crazy and wild. I've been following this story since it sort of blew up yesterday, and I kind of wanted to cover it, and I want to wait a little bit, see if Unity would respond, which they did about 40 minutes ago. So I want to give you guys the most up-to-date possible news on this, how it's going to affect you, and sort of what's going on here. Just throwing this in post edit, there was some updates to their FAQ, and so I want to add this in here at the beginning just because I didn't talk about it in the video. I wasn't aware that they'd updated their FAQ, but some people linked to their FAQ stating something that also is kind of wild and should be included in this discussion. But starting in November, Unity personal users will get a new sign-in and online user experience. Users will need to be signed into their hub with a Unity ID and connected to the internet to use Unity. If the internet connection is lost, users can continue using Unity for up to 3 days while offline, meaning for users who either have spotty connection, have no connection at home and are just literally installing it to go Gamedev at the house, or for users who live more remotely or are moving somewhere more remotely. At least for a time being, they cannot use Unity. You'll have 3 days with no connection where you can use it, and then you are screwed. So this is also something I think that should be brought up. I don't think it's being talked about enough. I just want to include this here at the beginning. I don't mention it in the video just because I didn't know it happened. But yeah, go ahead and continue on the video here. So this headline kind of spread pretty wildfire yesterday in all the game dev communities, just due to the fact that Unity is instituting a runtime fee. It's about 20 cents per download. Now, the biggest concern is not necessarily that it was like, 20 cents per customer. It's 20 cents per download, which means if you have a single user who sits there and re-downloads the game over and over and over, that could rack up a lot of fees. Now, there is some caveats here. There's been a lot of sort of misinformation going around, so I want to clarify some of that and sort of back up the fact that it is wild and crazy what's going on here, but there are some stopgaps in place. Now, that's not to defend Unity. It is still an insane pricing model, and I think we're going to see a lot of people shift away from Unity to Unreal Engine and other platforms, Godot, so on and so forth. But let's start with what's actually happening here. So what they've instituted is a pricing change where basically there's a threshold. If you have made $200,000 or more in the last 12 months and you have at least 200,000 lifetime game installs, then basically you can be at risk of having this fee. And then if you have the enterprise versions, it's $1 million or more in the last 12 months and at least 1 million lifetime game installs. Now, here's the problem. Here's where Unity gets this really, really wrong. Because while this is great because it means small indie devs can still make games and release them and not get a fee, this is gross, not net. So that means that as a company, if you've made $200,000, but then you've spent, $150,000 on, voice actors, modelers, all the different things you need to make a game, you now still have to worry about Unity coming for their fee. I think someone posted, let me see if I can find it here, the exact breakdown. I have a few different tabs up because I'm trying to keep everything in order. So example here, they have 400,000 gross revenue. Apple takes 120,000 because of their cut. This is assuming you're on the App Store. Their marketing costs are $280,000, so it ends up a net profit of zero. Unity still comes for their $40,000 debt. That doesn't just get washed away because you've spent money on marketing, which is kind of insane. And so with all of this, there's been a lot of backlash, a lot of outcry, understandably, because this is kind of an insane move to charge people per download. Now, the thing is, this number right here, is thinking in terms of reasonable people who are downloading the game just because they bought the game. You've got 200,000 people downloading. Now, The wild thing is this is not accounting for any bad actors. Now, of course, all of this backlash, Unity has responded with a Twitter post. It is just extremely lackluster and makes me even less certain that they know what they're doing. The big problem for me is when you go actually look at the comments, people are asking things like, how are the installs tracked? 'Cause that's a really big concern for a lot of people. They talk about leveraging their own proprietary data model so you can accurately, you can appreciate that we won't go into a lot of detail, but we believe it gives accurate determination of the number of times the runtime distributor is given for a given project. One, that makes it even more sound like, to me, at least as a user, that every single time someone downloads the game, suddenly there's a new charge. Even someone not doing this out of malicious intent, someone who genuinely just enjoys the game and just uninstalls and reinstalls once in a while, is costing you literal money. That's wild. Some other comments here. This is insane. This won't affect me, but it's crazy to think that if I continue to grow using the software and become successful, that I could be hit with a massive bill. Then the potential for being charged for reinstalls or pirated versions is completely unacceptable and egregious. If this is the direction Unity wants to go, it's a no-brainer to switch to another game engine. And then Unity's extremely lackluster response. We do already have fraud detection practices in our ads technology, which is solving a similar problem. So we will leverage know-how as a starting point. We recognize that users' concerns about this and will make the process for them to submit their concerns to our fraud compliance team. Here's the problem. If I have to submit a concern every couple of downloads, it's just going to get really out of hand and basically take away from my ability to game dev. On top of that, they talk about their fraud detection practices and ads. That doesn't give me very good confidence. People find ways around these systems. They fail all the time. That's a normal thing. DRM fails all the time. How hard would it be for a bad actor to just literally keep triggering that same endpoint? Because the thing is, you don't actually have to re-download it to cause that fee to be charged. Now, that is a way to do it if you're not as tech savvy. But there's very easy scripts and different networking tools you can use to basically trick Unity into thinking you're re-downloading. You basically send some sniffer packets. I'm not super solid on the exact science behind it because I'm not myself someone who does a whole lot of networking work. But from what I've heard from other users on Reddit and other forums is that it would be super easy to send sniffer packets that make Unity think you started a download. And so therefore by triggering that process every single time. And the idea that this is something that someone came up with on literally just seeing this news. That's not even accounting for people who genuinely want to do harm and genuinely find ways around the system. It's insane. So let's go and take a look back here. So we're going to look at some more comments here. People talk about pirating still, and they're talking about their exact, it's almost copy and paste their response. Yeah, so a lot of comments. That's the biggest concern I think most people have. And it just feels like from their response, they didn't catch that. I don't know if they didn't understand that was going to be people's concern. They just thought it was, oh, money. Because here's my problem. Another problem with their concern, with their response is down here. They're talking about how they're going to lessen the impact on developers, which sounds great until you read their next sentence, how they're planning on doing that. If you're using any of our ad products, Unity gaming services, or cloud services, please contact us to discuss discounts. Meaning, hey, if you want to pay for these other things, we could maybe get you a discount. That's just unacceptable. I don't think in any stretch of the imagination I'm on the out here. I think that this is a wildly impractical move if they're doing it for good reasons. If they're doing it for bad reasons, it's going to kill the business. And that may be intentional. That maybe they're trying to drop down their price so they could sell to somebody or something. I don't know. I don't fully understand the inner workings of Unity. It seems like they keep making really bad business decisions and then people just wash it away the next day. I don't see anyone, even longtime Unity developers, defending this. From all the videos I've seen from other YouTubers and everything, everybody seems genuinely on board that this is wild. I mean, hell, look over on the right hand side right now. We've got Unity is literally trending in the gaming with over 272,000 posts versus the next video game trending is 73,000. Nintendo's Direct has 13,000. So that just goes to show that there's quite a bit of outcry about this. I don't know what their next move is, what they can really do to even try and recover from this. This is just wild. I mean, here's the exact breakdown of like how they calculate the fees per install, because it's not always 20 cents per install. That's just sort of the rough ballpark number that everybody throws around, because it's personal in Unity Plus. Because of course bigger businesses, this screws them over too. Because think about it, if you sell more than $1 million and you have more than 1 million copies sold, and you're over here with the enterprise version, you know, you still have to deal with these insane prices. Like, so this is if the thresholds are met. If you sell anywhere between 1 to 100,000 new installs over that million, you now are paying 12 cents an install. That's insane. And they're paying 20 cents an install for the personal, which means they're directly screwing over indie developers right here. Like, you only have to reach 200,000. So let's say you've got an indie game and it blows up in popularity, but it blows in popularity just enough for you to reach that threshold. Boom, you jump over the threshold of both installs and revenue. Because the thing is, the revenue is the most important one, because the install threshold, that's where the bad actor can literally just screw you over. So you reach that 200,000 revenue, and then let's say you've only got 50,000 installs. Well, I just start at my bot farm and just start refreshing downloads over and over and over. And then you get over that install threshold, and then boom, it starts charging you 20 cents per install over that threshold. That is wild. I've never heard of anything as insane as that. But I had to get a video out just because I wanted to kind of cover this. I've seen a lot of people talking about this and how this is actually why it's not a problem for indie devs. And I think that's just outright not true, specifically because it's gross, not net. If it was net, then maybe you'd be like, you know, okay, you know, if I factor in my costs, you know, it's not as bad, because, you know, I still have to then still make profit. So, you know, it makes sense. They've got to take it from the net, but no, they're taking it from the gross, which is just wild. If anyone here watching is a Unity developer, we started on the Unreal Engine subreddit a post here that should be pinned at the top, I believe, talking about tools and resources for y'all to move from Unity to Unreal Engine. I believe the Godot subreddit also has a post. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you want any help changing from any engine to any engine, I'm more than happy to find resources for you. Until Unity changes their mind, I think a lot of people are going to be going away from Unity. So thank you guys for watching. Good luck and good hunting.